environment, a species needs to either adapt or they will die out. And then you go on to say, and I quote, that humanity is now faced with a stark choice, evolve or die. My question to you is this. When you say evolve or die, do you mean that literally, and it sounds like you might, or do you mean that metaphorically, which I hope?
Evolve or die refers to humanity as a whole, whether humanity survives as a species. Even if humanity did not survive as a species, no gain in consciousness is ever lost within the totality of consciousness. So the fact that we are here and consciousness, which is really all that exists, we are only forms that come out of consciousness, and consciousness is the evolutionary process of the universe. And we are here together as part of this evolution of consciousness, which comes through the human form. Consciousness can use and does use millions and billions of other forms, and evolves through that. Out of the unmanifested. In the unmanifested, consciousness is already perfect, or God, you could say. Timeless, perfect, eternal, no change. And then you have this so-called manifested dimension, which some ancient teachers have described as a kind of dream, which is what it is. But for some reason, consciousness wants to come into this world of form. And in this world of form, it evolves. So one could say that gradually, more and more, God, which is another word for consciousness, God comes into this world of form gradually, emerges. And God comes through you, God comes through me, God comes through you. Gradually, more and more, the density of form lessens, and this is what's happening. And so, even if humanity didn't make it, consciousness would, the gain in consciousness that has already been achieved by those human beings who have become conscious would make consciousness express itself much more easily through some other form, because ultimately we are not the form, we are not the body that we see. Humanity, you are not the form that is sitting there. In essence, you are beyond, you are the formless consciousness itself.
You're the stillness.
Temporarily assuming this particular form. And of course, the form eventually is going to dissolve anyway, because then consciousness moves on. Consciousness is continuous evolution, continuous metamorphosis. It's a wonderful process. So there's nothing to be scared of, because ultimately, when I say evolve or die, I'm only speaking of humanity as a species. But ultimately, nothing dies. It's only a transformation of consciousness, a transformation of form.
A transformation of
form.
Yeah.
So there is no death, ultimately.
But you do mean the end of our